What you do this month in May can make or break your summer pepper harvest and determine whether your plants stall out for the season or thrive. These aren't your average pepper tips. Some might even surprise you, including one that is opposite of the advice I've been giving you for years. Let's jump in. First of all, why is this month so critical for peppers? Why is it make or break time? Because now in May, the temperatures are getting more consistently in the 70s and 80s. Peppers love that heat, but more importantly, they love warm soil. So as the air temperature warms up, the soil temperature also warms up, and it's the ideal time to get peppers planted. Now, if you've already got your peppers planted, they are really going to start to take off this month. They're going to start to fruit and flower. And you really have to do these powerful strategies this month before the summer heat kicks in. Or you could be left with stunted plants, dropping flowers, or no fruit at all. So May, it's go time for peppers. The first strategy that I like to do in May is to pinch those early flowers, especially on young plants or plants that are under about a foot tall. And this just feels wrong sometimes, I realize that. However, removing those early flowers will set the stage for the root development and the leaf development, which will later on help support the growing fruit. Now, this pepper plant here actually overwintered, and it's just starting to push out leaves and a few flowers. So because I want it to push out more leaves and branches, I'm going to snip off these tiny first flowers here, and it's important that you use some precision pruners. I like this one with a curved handle because it curves away from the stem. And just snip it off. And this allows all of the plant's energy to go into the stem production and the leaf production and develop nice strong roots instead of producing flowers and fruit at this point in its life. And doing it this month in May is critical before it starts to develop fruit. And it will help you have a stronger plant and more peppers later in the season. Next strategy for May is to top your pepper plants. Now, this can be a bit controversial. Some gardeners like to do it, some gardeners don't. Now, what topping does is you basically are cutting off the top of your pepper plant, and it pushes out leaf growth on the bottom part of the plant, which causes your plant to be bushy instead of tall and lanky, has a much stronger stem, and often makes for a stronger, healthier plant, which is more able to withstand the stresses of the summer heat. But you need to do it now in May while the plant is still young. Super critical. So your plant should have at least 4 to 6 leaf nodes, be about 6 to 8 inches tall. You'll just get in there again with your precision pruners and cut off the top of the plant. Now, I know this is really hard to do. So although it might slow down flower and fruit production by a few weeks, the big trade-off is you get a stronger, bushier plant, and it's easier to manage the size, especially in small spaces or containers. Super critical this month that you lock in your watering routine and keep your watering consistent for stronger roots and stronger plants. Now, this is the number one reason why peppers fail during the month of May, because they just don't bounce back from early season stress like a lot of other vegetables do. What I'm using is the Mr. Landscaper micro sprayers. These mimic light rainfall and soak not just the soil around the base, but the entire root zone. And that full coverage helps develop stronger feeder roots and support steady growth. I set them on a timer for consistent moisture, especially important as temperatures climb and because pepper roots are very shallow and need that consistent moisture early in the season for strong, steady growth. Consistency is key, whatever system you use, and don't let plants dry out between waterings. For my watering schedule right now, it's been in the 70s and 80s, a few days in the 90s. I've been running them for about 20 minutes a day. But as the temperature increases later in the month and into the summer, I'll definitely be bumping up that length of time to about 30 minutes a day. And I've really seen a difference in the vigor of how these plants have grown since they've been planted because I've been using this system. Next important strategy for this month is to use fish fertilizer, but not just any kind. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. This month during May is a high demand phase for your peppers, and they really need balanced nutrition. They've got to set flowers, produce fruit, and handle the heat ahead. Here's where my advice has changed. Over the years, I've said not to use high fish fertilizer during the flowering and fruiting stage. But we've been working with Monterey and Lawn & Garden for a couple of years, and after consulting with their experts, they've told me that Monterey Fish and Guano fertilizer is actually perfect to use all season long, even though it's higher in nitrogen, because it contains 3 different types of nitrogen that are released over the growing season at different times, so it doesn't push out too much leafy growth for your plants at once. But it also has the phosphorus and potassium that your plants really need at this point to produce those flowers and then fruiting. also has calcium, magnesium, and iron to support the stems and to support the energy growth of the plant. Mix the concentrate in your watering can according to package directions and drench the soil at the base of your plant thoroughly, or you can foliar feed for quicker uptake of the nutrients. You want to do this for your raised beds about once a month and your containers about once a week. Final strategy for May, and I can't stress this one enough, is early pest checks. Now, why this is so important is because as the weather warms up, the pests like to move into your pepper plants, especially the aphids. So what I do is check the underside of the leaves because that's where they like to hide. And super important to catch them before it becomes an infestation and really sabotage the growth of your plants. So for this, I use the sock trick. We talked about this in a video earlier this week. Check underneath every single leaf. And then when you see the aphids, no need to spray at this point because you probably just have a few. Just wipe the aphids off and you've got a pest-free plant. And then keep an eye on your plants throughout the growing season. If they get out of hand, that's when it's a good idea to use sprays. But this month in May, the sock hack really does the trick and keeps your pepper game strong before they get out of control. So now you know it's go time in May. Don't miss your window. As always, I'll be reading the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.